Are you ready to be challenged? Because today we're going to challenge your definition of success on today's episode.
You are listening to the Champion Hustle podcast. Play to succeed in business and in life. Featuring Levi Hunsaker and Ryan Black.
Hello and welcome to the Champion Hustle podcast. This is episode number 18. My name is Ryan Black.
And my name is Levi Hunsaker.
And welcome out to today's episode. This is going to be an interesting one. Levi, are you ready to tackle this?
Yeah, I'm excited about this topic, mostly because we have these ideas of success that are ingrained in us through our childhood, through our schooling, through all of these different avenues. And really, we want to challenge those ideas and give you a different opportunity to meet the success that you're looking for.
Yeah. It's interesting when we look at the topic, of course, today is defining success. What does that look like for you in your life? And so we have quite a few thoughts that we're going to share with you about that, because one reason why some people get so frustrated in life, in business and in life, is because they think that success is a destination. It's like, okay, I've been working and hustling and doing all these things, and they have some idea that once they hit a certain level or get to a certain point, then they're successful, right? And I think that's maybe because in just how we speak in society, we say, oh, look how successful he is or she is at what they've done. They're the definition of success. And it's really not accurate, right? Success is not a destination. Success is a mindset. And a similar comparison that I love to make is that of being a champion versus championship. And that applies perfectly with our show, right? Champion Hustle. When we look at a championship, that is a single one-time event that takes place. Whatever type of championship, it doesn't matter. But who wins the championship? Well, a champion, right? The champion wins the championship. We don't really care about championships. We care about being champions. Because when you are a champion and you have the champion mindset, therefore everything that you do will be what a champion would do. And by doing that, likewise with success is a mindset. It's not a destination. So if you have a successful mindset and you work as a successful person would, you will then create success in your life.
Absolutely. One of the things that I like to think about this is when you are thinking about success, comparison is not going to reach the success that you are looking for. Because by the time you reach that level of success, there's always somebody else that you can compare yourself to. And if you keep looking to others to define success for you, that's going to be, it's like chasing the carrot. Somebody's dangling that carrot out in front of you, and you just have to constantly keep working and working, but that's a moving target, and you're never going to get there.
So comparing really is something that we all do, right? We compare ourselves to other people, and we also compare ourselves to ourself, either our past, typically our past self, sometimes our future self, but usually our past self. And one thing that's really important to remember is when, like you said, Levi, if you're comparing yourself to others, there's always going to be somebody else that's smarter, bigger, stronger, faster, wealthier, better looking. There's always going to be somebody that's more. And so comparing ourselves to other people is really counterproductive, right? We're not trying to compete against other people here. The only person we're trying to compete against is ourselves. And so when looking at defining success and what success means in your life, it's really important to first look at and see what is your current position. Where are you at this point in time? And then once you've defined that, then you can see, okay, well, in order for me to achieve success, or in other words, improvement from where I'm at currently, now you have a clear goal to work towards or a clear metric that you can measure in order to reach that next level. But you're comparing against yourself and your own personal improvement and your personal development. It's entirely different.
Absolutely, because you are trying to make steps to move forward when you're doing that. When you are basically evaluating against yourself or competing against yourself, trying to be better than you were the day before, That's all about improvement, not about competition or having somebody else lose out. It's about you getting better. So if we jump in and we talk about, typically we think about the definition of success in dictionary terms, that it's about accomplishing a goal or an aim or a desire, right? Mm-hmm. That is what we have been brought up learning about success. But a few years ago, I learned a new definition of success that I absolutely love. And this definition I learned from Earl Nightingale, and he says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So that means that we don't have to actually reach the destination. It's all about the journey. Are we taking steps in a positive direction? That's success. That's the first challenge to the traditional definition of success that we're going to issue today, is that as long as you are taking action, taking steps, moving forward, you are successful.
Yeah, and it's, once again, and I love that, what the quote that you shared with Earl Nightingale, it is the progressive realization towards that goal, right? Because, I mean, so let's talk about in business terms, right? If you're saying, okay, I want my business to generate, 2 million or 5 million or whatever in revenue per year, and that's your goal, and then you think once you hit that, then you're all of a sudden successful, you're fooling yourself, right? In order to get to that point, you've had to have a success mindset the entire time. And then what? Then you hit 5 mil in sales and then you're done? Now you're successful, now you can sit back and do nothing the rest of your life? Successful people are constantly in the process of progressing, of constantly leveling up, and it's a mindset. I know I keep going back to mindset, but that's all it is. It is important to have specific milestones, whether it be a certain volume or your dollar amount or a certain achievement that you want to accomplish, and those are milestones. It's really important as you're working towards success and towards generating and creating the mindset of success. It is important that you have specific measurable milestones that you can hit, because then you know that you're on track, right? But that is not the end goal. The success is not because of the sales generated or because of the accomplishment. It is who you become during that process. And it's kind of sad, but if we look at, there's lots of examples. The first one that comes to my mind is Robin Williams, right? We've seen different examples of people who, by others' definitions, would say, hey, this was somebody who was highly, highly successful, right? He was an actor, a comedian, had tons of work in the entertainment industry. I don't remember what his net worth was, but he was, financially, he had made a lot of money. And so people would say, he's successful financially, and was well beloved by people all over the world for his artistic works in film and TV and comedy. Yet he took his own life because he didn't feel that he was worth anything and he didn't feel successful. And so it's kind of a sombering example. And there are other examples too. He was just the first one that came to mind, to where your success is not defined by what other people think. It has to come from within. And so whether you're the guy making, 50 grand a year or 50 million a year, your level of contentment and happiness in your life of where you're at has to come from within. Success cannot be defined externally by other people. And the pursuit of that, of trying to appease other people and trying to show and trying to make, will not bring you the satisfaction and the accomplishment that you're looking for in trying to drive success. It simply doesn't exist. It won't you won't create it going down that road.
Well, and honestly, chasing someone else's dream is the fastest way to self-destruct. You cannot chase someone else's dream and reach your happiness. It doesn't work that way. So you've got to find your own dream, and you've got to go work for that dream. Another quote by Earl Nightingale here says, the success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that was his dream. You have to know what you want in life, and you have to become successful by achieving it. So it's all about you working towards your dreams, you working to be your best version of yourself, no matter what anybody else is doing. That example you used of whether you're making $50,000 or $50 million, I've met a lot of people that are making $50,000 that are a lot happier than people that are making millions of dollars. And so happiness and success is not determined by how much money you're making. It really is determined by you reaching the goals and dreams that you have for yourself and working in that direction. And another thing you mentioned earlier, you talked about if you wanted to get to, $2 or $5 million annually, right? Mm-hmm. Is that your success? Well, if you actually look back, once you've achieved that milestone, you look back and realize that every step of the way, you already were successful. You were successful in hitting the 10K mark and, the 50K mark and the 100K mark, right? You're successful in each of these steps along the way because that was the only way that you could be the successful multimillionaire per year, is by being successful at all of the steps in between.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, because it's not only just some of those micro achievements getting up to what your kind of longer term goal is, but it's also on the flip side, all of the failures, right?
Absolutely.
The only way you get to success, to achieve your goals, is through repeated failure. Because if you don't go for it, you're never going to get there. If you don't try, you're guaranteed to fail. And so in order to achieve that success, it's simply failing forward. Every time you fail, now you know what doesn't work. And the people who do achieve greater, loftier goals and higher levels of, success are those who have failed more than others. That's simply all there is to it. And, there are so many different types of, or categories, I guess you could say, of success. There's different ways of defining it, right? Typically when people think about success, they're talking about financial success, right? Oh, you're making so much money and got all these assets and this portfolio and all this, and that's great, but that's only one type of success. What are some other types of success, Levi, that you would say?
So, for example, maybe you have some goals, some physical goals. Maybe you want to go run a marathon or do a mountain bike race or a triathlon or heck, let's get crazy, even an Ironman.
That's pretty wild.
We've actually got a friend that went and did an Ironman, and he was in the Clydesdale division. They have different weight categories, and he went and he did it. Doesn't matter how fast it was, he went and he did it, and that achievement of the milestone of actually doing it, that was success.
Wow. Yeah, so you got physical success. You could have emotional success, especially right now. There's a lot of people struggling with emotional health and their emotional well-being. Creating and defining what emotional success looks like for you is, I would say, very, very important. You've got relational success, right? Your relationships that you have with others. Extremely important, be it a spouse or family members or friends or business associates. What type of relationship do you want to nurture and create with them and grow? Because we've all seen dysfunctional relationships. That's not our goal. Our goal is to create champion relationships and to be successful. And as we all know, any relationship takes a lot of effort, whether it's a friendship or whether it's a spouse, right? If you want to continue to protect it and nurture that relationship, it does require effort, but it's absolutely worth it when they're with the correct people.
Yeah, so one thing, I would like to step back to the emotional success. We cannot always be emotionally sound. Life happens, there are bad things that happen, there are things that come our way, and sometimes there are just things that we carry ourselves in our day-to-day lives. And on that note, if you are struggling, reach out. Asking for help is one of the very hardest things, and it takes courage. It takes a ton of courage and a ton of strength to reach out to someone and ask for help, especially when you're fighting your inner battle and your inner demons. And so, heck, if you are struggling, reach out to me. I will be there to listen. I would much rather spend an hour on the phone than attend someone's funeral.
Thank you, Levi. I really appreciate you sharing that. It particularly for, it's a hard topic to broach, and a lot of times people are embarrassed to talk about it or to become vulnerable about topics relating to emotional distress and depression and things like that. And so, help is available, and you simply have to. There are people, like Levi showed, there are people who care, and people who are happy to support you if you are in that position. So have the courage to speak up, because you may be surprised. You never know what roads other people have walked. We always see the best in everyone, right? Oh, he's got it so easy. Oh, she's done all this stuff. Oh, look at this, look at that. Many times they have no idea the roads that people have walked to get to this point, and the support that they can be for you, or the ways that their life experience, can help empower yours.
So I think I've got news for you guys. Nobody has it together.
Yes.
Let's bring it back a little lighter now. But the reality is nobody really has it together. What you see on social media, what you see out in the world, that is what people are presenting the best version of themselves.
Yep.
So you don't see everything else that's like a duck on the pond. You don't see all the churn that's going on under the water. So just remember that you're doing okay. Just do the best you can, and you're doing okay. And the last type of success we want to talk about today is spiritual. And whatever that means to you, whether that you have a specific faith that you're a part of, or you enjoy nature, you enjoy, whatever that word spiritual means to you, there is a connection to the earth, to a higher being, whatever that is. But make sure that you're spending time having success in that area of your life as well.
Well, it kind of boils down to, we talk about the 5 F's, right? Faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun. And so, there's different types of success that coordinate or correspond to those different areas. And what you said is true. We are all, in the words of our friend Woody, we are all a hot mess. Everyone is a hot mess. So you just accept it and you move on. And
even better than just accepting it and moving on is embrace it and let it shine.
Yeah.
Own your hot mess and just be who you are. When you can embrace that hot mess, your life becomes way more easy, more simple. You're not trying to please other people. You're just owning your hot mess.
Yeah. Well, and when looking at the fact that we are a hot mess, and trying to juggle that along with, well, these are the goals that I have, and this is how I want to create success in my life here and there. The reality is most people in this world, they unfortunately live their life by default, right? They kind of just subscribe to whatever was presented to them, and that's what they're doing, right? And so they're living life by default. The difference is when you are truly focused on having the mindset of a champion and the mindset of creating success in your life, in all of the aspects, you start to create a life by design. And that's a core difference. Rather than living life by default, you're creating a life by design. And so at that point, then the goals or the achievements or the milestones that you're working towards, I don't want to say they're arbitrary or they're not that important, because they are important, but it doesn't matter, because you now have a shift in perspective. Your paradigm is completely different. It is, well, what life do I want to design? How do I want to live? What do I want to do? What do I want to be? What do I want to, all of these things. And then your success is simply living. By living, you are being successful because you are enjoying the journey. You are enjoying the journey. It's not just about a destination. It's every day in the little things. And obviously there's moments and things that we don't enjoy. Everyone has that in life. But the difference is your life that you're living by design, and having a business that generates a good amount of money to provide for your family, that's obviously important. Right? Having the time freedom to be able to do those activities that you want to do and have flexibility and control and independence and build relationships and experience life and all the different, things that we're all looking for. All of those things become available when you start to create a life by design.
Yeah, so the word design means something maybe a little bit different than other people, because I like to approach it with my engineering background. So when I go in to design a new product or design a new feature in software or any of these types of capabilities, right? I don't go in and just take things at face value, because I'm going to get information told to me. The question is that correct information? So you have to sift through information to find out what's real and what's not. And not only that, you have to ask good questions of the people that are telling you the information, because they're actually going to start to learn more about what they really want in that process. And so when I start looking at design, it's all about asking good questions. And that doesn't mean be skeptical. That means just seeking understanding. When you start seeking for understanding, then you have the answers already and you can go create the design that you want.
I love it. Always thinking with that engineering mind. But you're embracing.
What I was given.
Yeah, see?
It's a blessing and a curse.
A blessing and a curse. I think, how about we look at maybe providing some suggestions or, maybe some tips or suggestions to our listeners who, everyone that listens, they're in a different place in life and in business. But there are some, universal truths or universal principles that they can take and apply into their life, into their business, in order to challenge their definition of success that they've had and create a life by design, which will then generate that mindset of success that they're looking for. So I'll kick it off with the first one. I would say create milestones that are, I don't want to say easy to achieve, but that are achievable. Because if you are so focused on where you want to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, that's so far away, it's really hard sometimes to quantify. And so, it's important to have that long-term vision, but look and see what is an accomplishment that you can achieve in the next month or week, right? And so it needs to be achievable, because just like I'm sure you've heard of gamification, right? Gamification is the principle of applying achievements and winning into different aspects of life. And so through gamification, if you gamify what you're doing, every time you make that little achievement, you're going to have a release of endorphins and you're going to feel good and you're going to be happy. That's not your end result. But if we constantly are just work at in any way, right? Whether it be business or relationships, and we never get a win, right? When we never have a win, we can never check off, hey, I achieved this goal. You start to get kind of jaded after a while. So in looking at your situation and figuring out, okay, long-term goals, but then scale it back, and what are some milestones that you can hit in the next, week, month or two, 6 months max, because that will help create momentum for you in your business, and more than anything up here in your mind, to where you're like, okay, I'm a person who achieves their goals, so I can achieve the next one. Right? And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you are like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then you really start creating momentum. But if you feel like you're just trudging uphill constantly, you get pretty frustrated after a while and be like, screw this, I give up. And we don't want that. So small milestones. Sometimes for some people, they're like, well, I feel like I'm cheating. You're not cheating. It's good to create small ones that will give you that sense of achievement and sense of satisfaction that you're headed in the right direction. And obviously, you'll scale it up from there.
So is there a right answer? How can you be cheating if there's no right answer?
I'm just saying, I know what I would be thinking, and so I know if I think it, there's got to be some other people,
But
maybe
if you break
other
it down
people.
on a small scale, it's bite-sized chunks. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't do it by just sitting down and saying, you know what, I'm going to tackle this whole thing right now. You got to break it down into stuff that you know you can achieve, because until you achieve those, you may not actually be able to see the vision of how to get to the next step.
Right.
So the thing that I want to touch on is failure. We've talked a little bit about that today. Failure is a part of success. So a lot of people think that success is the high road and failure is the low road, and you get to choose one path or the other. Well, that's not reality at all. In reality is failure is sitting here, and then success is on the other side of it, and you have to move through failure to get to success. And the hardest part is not getting stuck in your failures. So this is the way that I like to think about it, is when you have a failure, own it. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel bad about it. If you have a setback, you're going to take some time. Allow yourself to feel that failure, because it's a human emotion, right? Unless you're a robot, then just go do what you're going to do. But feel that emotion. Let yourself own that and feel it, but don't get stuck there. What you're trying to do is minimize the amount of time that you're in that failure mode, because then the next step is to analyze what went wrong. When you can look at what went wrong, you can make a little bit of an adjustment, and then go take action. You take that next step. You identify that step. You go take it. And kind of what you mentioned about momentum is that you're going to start here. You're going to start by taking a little action, and then that will move you into some result. Okay? And that's some type of success that's going to boost your confidence, that moves you back into action. And you're going to go into the success cycle of action, results, success, and confidence over and over and over. But the flip is true as well. And this is why we don't want to stay in failure for a long period of time, because no action leads to no results, leads to no success and no confidence. And then you'll get down in that downward spiral of self-pity. And that's not what feeling the emotion of a failure is about. It's about just being human, giving yourself time to process that, and then getting back up, stand up, look ahead, dust it off, move forward. And when you do that over and over and over again, you're going to boost into that success cycle, building your confidence, building your results, action, and success.
I love it. Failure, man. I don't know about you, but I know in me, in my life, in different areas, aspects of my life, the areas that in which I feel most confident are those wherein I have failed the most. Because I have so much experience at failing, it's like, oh, I've already been through like 1,000 different ways to fail at this. So I got it down, because you've already experienced all the ways that you can fail. So it's like, I got this. I don't know. I love failure, because failure helps you to grow, and it gets you closer to that final milestone. The next tip I'd like to share is that of the importance of the value for you guys to have an accountability partner. Because as you are creating objectives and working towards your goals and creating success, don't try to do it alone. It makes things so much easier if you have accountability. If somebody else knows, this is what I'm working towards, and I told you I'm going to do this. And so at those moments when you're like, I don't want to do it, or I'm too tired, or too frustrated, to whatever, and you don't want to do it, you have that knowing, okay, I'm going to have to report back to somebody that I did or did not do what I was supposed to do, is going to influence you. And not only that, but the accountability partner can also provide support in the way of they have a different perspective. And so sometimes what you are working towards, you might be right on target, but there might be a better way of doing it, or there might be a more optimal way, or they just may have a different perspective. So having an accountability partner, be that a business partner, a family member, a friend, some type of mentor or coach, there's a lot of different capacities that people could be in for that. But make sure you've got an accountability partner that can support you as you work towards those goals, because they will help keep you on the right path.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur, is to keep yourself motivated. And so have somebody that you trust, and really you want somebody that's going to be hard on you too. Like, that's not going to be like, oh, I'll let it slide. Like, that it's going to be painful to say that, you know, I didn't meet what I said I was going to do, so that you are more motivated, that you can go back and give a good report to that accountability partner. So that's an awesome tip. The last one that we want to talk about today is don't forget to celebrate your successes. You want to make those wins a positive, uplifting reward, because that high that you get off of those successes is what's going to carry you through the harder times. And honestly, we've mentioned this before. Let's celebrate the failures too, because guess what? You took action. You took a step. There's things to celebrate, so look for the positivity in that. And when you have that positivity, you're going to attract more positivity, more success into your life.
What you think about comes about. What
Exactly.
you focus on, you get more of. I love it. Thank you, Levi. And thanks to you guys for joining us on today's episode. I know some of the topics are a little more technical and some of them are a little more ethereal. And today was a little bit more ethereal. And I hope you found it beneficial, our discussion today. We appreciate you joining us. We remind you that we do have all of our different resources online, championhustle.com, where you can subscribe to our different feeds, as well as get connected on our Facebook page. Make sure you share with your family and friends about the show so we can be able to increase our reach and our audience to be able to share this great information with more folks. We are excited about the growth that we're seeing on the show, and we really appreciate your support. We've got our episode next week is going to be, it kind of ties in with what we're talking about today in a way. We're going to be talking about SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, and you can do that obviously on a business, but you can also do it on your life. So we're going to talk about that, what it is, how to do it, so that you can level up your business and level up your life. So thanks again. Hope you have a great week. Thank you, Levi.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Champion Hustle podcast. For more great content and to join our online community, visit us at championhustle.com.